Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. Meow. Today, we are doing a Q&A series, and this question came in from Liz. Hey Liz, if you're watching this, thanks for your question. The question that we're going to be answering in this video is, what do you do if you are new to astrology and you want to read your birth chart? How does one begin to read their birth chart if they're entirely new to astrology? And I'm filming from inside this incredible little quasi cave. I don't know if you can see, there's ferns literally popping out of the rocks. It's so great. I just thought I would acknowledge that. So what do you do? Good question. You go to an astro software generator of some form, assuming you're not going to an astrologer, right? Go to astrotheme.com. That's my personal favorite. You can also use astro.com. There's a number of websites out there. You can just look up free birth chart calculator. And what you're going to look for when you're first getting into astrology, what I recommend you look for is just what most astrologers talk about, which is your ascendant, your sun, and your moon. Now, any given time at any given place on this planet, you're going to have 10 different planets that are going to be significant, and all I'm telling you are 3 points that are really important to look at. So the chart is very complex, but we're just going to break it down little baby step by little baby step, so don't be intimidated, okay? The first thing you're going to look at, ascendant, sun, and moon. What is your ascendant sign, and what does that say about you as a person? Great question. The ascendant is how you incarnate on this planet. It's how you get things done. It's the sign that was on the eastern horizon of the planet at the time that you were birthed. So it's how you approach life. It's how you tackle anything around you. It's how your filter with the planet is. That's basically the summary of an ascendant. It's your filter for life on Earth. Okay, if that makes sense. You're living your whole physical, emotional, spiritual experience through the lens of your ascendant, in other words. Now your sun is going to be of importance as well, and so is the moon. According to the different types of astrology that you look at, the moon is more important than the sun in many forms of astrology, especially ancient astrology. In modern astrology, especially Western astrology, you hear people talk a lot about the sun, the sun, the sun. Well, isn't the sun great? The sun is definitely great, y'all, but at the same time, if you want to think about what your moon is, I'm going to do a whole different video on this because there was another Q&A that came in on this topic. But the moon is your consciousness at a soul level. It's your essence's consciousness. It's the conscious of your soul, of your energy, of your energy being's consciousness. Okay, that's the moon. The moon's also your raw emotional state. It's how you feel at a baseline level. And I heard this one astrologer one time say that the moon is like the stage of your life, whereas the sun is like the plot. Okay, so the moon's kind of like your general sense of energy of self in this lifetime, birthing into this experience. It's like, what are you gonna feel like coming into this lifetime? That's the moon. Okay, so it's telling to us about your emotional tendencies. It's telling to us about what you like to feel like, how you like to engage with energy, with life. You can find a lot of pleasure, generally speaking, from where your moon sign is, a lot of feeling at home, a lot of feeling comfortable based on your moon sign. That's something that you can learn from the moon. So it's going to tell you a lot about who you are as a soul and kind of where you are in your evolutionary journey, just as much as the moon is going to tell you about your emotional states and kind of some of your more pleasurable experiences. Also, it's how people who are really close to you in your life know you as. So other people who you first meet are going to be oh, that's an ascendant. They're going to be oh, that's the sign on your ascendant. That's more of the energy they're going to vibe with at first meeting of you. But once they get to know you very deeply, beyond the sun, but very intimately, your closest relationships, those are the people who know you for your moon sign and also what's on your IC, which we're not going to talk about today, but that's your 4th house cusp. Next is the sun. Looking at the sun, as I said, it's the plot to the moon being the stage. So the stage being the kind of scene that you're in. So I'm in this stage right now of this incredible earth plane, canyon, creek, forest edge, right? But the plot, what goes down here, the video that I'm doing is the sun. The sun is your divine consciousness at a more analytical level. It's also your higher knowing and information that you personally have access to that other people don't necessarily have as readily access to, okay? So like, what kind of divine benevolent information do you have access to? Do you channel? Do you possess? Do you provide other people that other people don't inherently have access to at that easy of level, if that makes sense? Wherever your sun sign is, it's also in the West how we identify as beings, as ourselves. It's our ego, and that's not like a bad thing to have an ego. It's a consciousness of self being separate from others. It's awareness that you're not physically incarnated in the same bodies as everybody else, right? So like the ego in and of itself is more or less, it could be a healthy thing. It's not like it has to be evil or narcissistic or anything thing, but the sun is your identity. It's how you consciously conceive of yourself, whereas the moon is more like just what your soul is. It's so deep that sometimes you just identify with it at like a deeper level that you don't even feel like sharing with other people, okay, until it's like your close, super intimate relationships, and then they just know you for your moon, right? But like the sun is how you think of yourself as being out in the world, and it's also that divine knowledge that you possess that you can share with others. And the sun is a very purifying planet. It's like the ruler of the whole zodiac. It's the center of our zodiac, right? So it is God energy because it rules the sign of Leo. And I won't go too deep into all that, but that's like Christ consciousness, benevolence at its highest and truest of levels, okay? So those are just 3 main placements. That's what you should look at. My suggestion when you're first getting into astrology, use one of those calculators and you'll see how they're identified on there. The glyphs are little symbols that show you what each planet is. I can do more videos on this stuff if it's of interest, but I just want to keep this really short and sweet. And you know, just in summary on those 3 components, by looking at just those 3 components, they are considered the major, most significant placements in an astrology chart. Granted, there are so many layers and so much complexity to any given chart. And let me just say, you can start reading charts. That's fine and dandy and amazing, and I encourage everybody to do that as a matter of fact. But I have been a student of astrology for at least 10 years now, and what I can tell you is that I'm still learning depths on how to read an astrology chart, because there's levels to this. Okay, there's levels to this, and once you get into it, it's very addictive. So I definitely encourage everybody to start getting into looking at where's my ascendant, sun, and moon, especially if you only know yourself for your sun sign, but not your moon and your ascendant. It can be really telling and give you like a whole next level understanding and kind of layer of accessing yourself and your experience as a soul throughout the lifetime. So I hope this video served you, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Why haven't you subscribed? Subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and hit the like button and show me some love down below, and a comment letting me know if you're new to astrology, what you're most excited to learn and what was most interesting about this video to you. I would really appreciate that, and I'll be sure to get back in touch with you in a little comment back. So please do that, and with that said, may the stars be with you, not against you, with you. Peace.